we will review chapter 17, 18, and 19, and also perform exam 3 exercise today. So instructions for this exercise, for the best result, make sure you study chapter 17, 18, and 19 before taking this exercise. Prepare some pieces of paper and pen or pencil to write your answer. There will be 2 or 3 seconds after each question to write your answer before the answer key is given and explained. Make sure that you can pause the video if you need more time. After finish the exercise, check your answers. How many are correct and how many are incorrect. Repeat the process until you get 100% correct answer. Make sure that the 100 correct answers are based on your knowledge. It is very likely that you will get a very good score on your exam 3 if you follow this instruction correctly. Okay, we start with number 1. What is the function of the digestive system? Okay, choose your answer. Okay, the name is telling you the function is to digest. Digest the food. What does digest mean? To break down micromolecules, bigger molecules into smaller molecules. So look for that answer. So sense stimulus is not deliver oxygen. This is the cardiovascular system. Protection against infection. This is lymphatic system. So the correct answer will be D. Ingest and break down food, absorb nutrient, and remove the unabsorbed material. So this is the functions of the digestive system. Okay, the next one. Proteins, carbohydrates, and fats or lipids are classified as A, B, C, or D. So these substances, usually the one that we eat. So we eat meat, has a lot of proteins. We eat bread, pizza, rice. There's a lot of carbohydrates on it. And also when we eat meat, there are fats on it. So all of them are big molecule that has to be digested. So these are macro or big molecules. So this is going to be micronutrients. The final products of protein digestions that will be absorbed in the intestines are A, B, C, or D. So remember again, the food that we eat is actually macromolecules or micronutrients, okay, like proteins, carbohydrate, and lipids. Yeah, there's also nucleic acid. Okay, so the proteins after digestions, it will produce the subunits, which is the final product of protein digestion is called the amino acid. This is the one that will be absorbed in the intestine. And then carbohydrates, this is also known as polysaccharides. Okay, and the final product will be called the monosaccharides. Examples are glucose, galactose, and lipids. This is a big molecules. The final products of digestion of lipids will be fatty acids, okay, and glycerol. Okay, so nucleic acid like DNA, RNA, the final products for digestion of this nucleic acid will be called the nucleotides. Okay, so these are the final products that will be absorbed in the intestine. Now the question is the final product of protein, which is the amino acid. Okay, the final products of lipid or fat digestion that will be absorbed in the intestine are, we already mentioned that. Choose your answer. Yes, gonna be fatty acid plus glycerol. Okay, so the answer will be fatty acids. The final product of carbohydrate digestion that will be absorbed in the intestines are, remember, the carbohydrate is also known as polysaccharide. Saccharide means sugar, poly means many. Okay, so polysaccharide consists of many sugar. So this is the unit that will be absorbed. Therefore, the final product is called the monosaccharide. Okay, mono means single. Okay, single sugar. Examples: glucose, fructose, galactose. These are the three examples of monosaccharides that will be absorbed in our intestine. And this is the final products of carbohydrate digestion. Which of the following is not a monosaccharide? We just telling you which one is this. Glucose is yes, fructose is yes, galactose is yes. Lactose is not. Lactose is actually consists of glucose, so one glucose plus one galactose. Okay, so this is what we call the disaccharide. Okay, di means two, so two sugar. Okay, so two sugar, which is glucose and galactose, will make lactose. Which of the following monosaccharides is part of DNA? Okay, glucose, fructose, ribose, or deoxyribose. Okay, so the name is telling you DNA means deoxyribose nucleic acid. This means that it carry deoxyribose. Okay, this is also monosaccharide. Actually, it has 5 carbons. So this carry 6 carbons. Okay, so the 6 carbon sugar. Ribose and deoxyribose carry 5 carbons. Now, how about the monosaccharides that is part of RNA? A, B, C, or D. Again, the name is telling you R over here means ribose. Okay, so ribose nucleic acid, which is this one. The C will be the answer, ribose. Monosaccharides, amino acid, and fatty acid are classified as A, B, C, or D. Okay, so remember, proteins will be digested into monosaccharide. Carbohydrates, okay, carbohydrate or polysaccharide will be digested into monosaccharide. Proteins will be digested into amino acids. Lipids, like oil, butter, will be digested into fatty acids. So the top one over here is called the macro or big molecule. Okay, macro or big molecule. Then the results or the product of the digestion will be called a small molecule or micro. Okay, small molecule. So the answer will be A, which is micronutrients. Which of the following is preferentially used by cell to make energy or ATP? A, B, C, or D? Okay, so remember, the process of making ATP is called cellular respiration. And the formula is glucose, which is C6H12O6 plus oxygen, 6 oxygen. It will be converted into ATP, which is energy that we need, 6 water, and 6 carbon dioxide. Okay, so the energy or the substance that is used for making this ATP by cell is this one, glucose, which is sugar or carbohydrate. So our cell will use carbohydrate first to make ATP. Taking vitamin to boost energy is a mistake because cell prefer to use blank for making energy. Okay, what is that? Okay. Vitamin is actually a type of proteins. So it is a type of proteins which will be used later after cell use the carbohydrate, which is glucose. So carbohydrate will be used first. What compound in our body use as glucose storage and replenish glucose supplies when they are depleted? A, B, C, or D? So when we have extra glucose in our blood, okay, this glucose will be converted into storage. It's called the glycogen. So glycogen is the storage of glucose, and they usually store in liver and muscle. So our liver have a lot of glycogen. Now what happens if our glucose depleted? We use them a lot. Of course, we're going to take it from the storage, which is from the glycogen. So this is going to be the storage of glucose that will be used to continue the ATP production. Glycogen is mainly formed and stored in A, B, C, or D. Okay, I just mentioned to you the formation of glycogen mostly happenings in liver. And there are also some storage of glycogen in muscle. So liver and muscle. Which of the following hormone stimulates the formation of glycogen or glycogenesis from glucose in the liver? A, B, C, or D? Okay, so this hormone is actually really famous. This is the one that reduces glucose in blood. Okay, so glucose in blood will be reduced by this hormone. It's going to be the insulin. So insulin actually will go to liver and tell the liver to make glycogen by taking glucose in blood, okay, it is converted into glycogen in liver. Okay, so hormone insulin. Which of the following hormones stimulates the breakdown of glycogen or glycolysis into glucoses in the liver? Okay, so which one? Of course, it is not insulin, because insulin actually the opposite process. So the process over here is glycogen in the liver will be converted into many glucoses into the blood. Okay, this is happening when our glucoses in the blood depleted, then glycogen will be broken down into glucoses. Okay, and the enzyme or the hormones that perform this process is also produced by pancreas, and this hormone is called the glucagon. So glucagon go to liver and then stimulate the breakdown of glycogen into glucoses. Which of the following is not a lipid? A, B, C, or D? Okay, so lipids are substance that is not dissolved in water. So look for these choices. Which one is not dissolved in water? It's going to be oil, right? Vegetable oil. Cholesterol is also lipids. And triglyceride, it is fat, so it is not dissolved in water. Tyrosine, it is actually amino acid. Most of amino acids will be dissolved in water. So this one is not lipid. Which components form a triglyceride? A, B, C, or D? Okay, so the name is telling you there is three. Okay, three something. Okay, so this substance is actually composed of one glycerol. It has 3 carbon. Okay, and then combined with 3 fatty acid. So fatty acid is a molecule that has a lot of carbon and hydrogens. It's a long chain of these atoms and molecules. So it consists of 1 glycerol and 3 fatty acid. Okay, look for that. 1 glycerol and 3 fatty acids. So this is the answer. Which of the following is high in monounsaturated fats? Okay, so saturated fat means the lipid or oil that has single bond between atom on their fatty acid. Okay, so this saturated fat like this, saturated fat. Okay. This saturated fat will be solid in room temperatures, like butter, for example. Okay, unsaturated fat means it has at least 1 double bond, okay, on the fatty acid. Okay, maybe this one has double bond over here. Okay, so double bond. So this double bond make the fat become unsaturated. And the one that have a lot of mono, which means single double bond, is actually olive oil. It is considered as one of the healthier oils. Okay. Which of the following organ is a digestive tract or alimentary canal organ? A, B, C, or D. So just remember the digestive organs divided into two types. The first one is called GI tract or alimentary canal. And the second one is called the accessory organs. Okay. So GI tract, from the name, it is a tract. It starts from hole and then it will be finished in another hole. Okay, so I could start from mouth and finish in anus. This is tract. Okay, so mouth and then pharynx, after that esophagus, and then stomach, small intestine, large intestine, rectum, and then anus. This is what we call the GI tract or alimentary canal. Accessory organs is organs of digestive system that do not create this tract or canal. Okay, like for example, we have 3 accessory organs in our mouth, which is teeth, tongue, and salivary glands. Okay, we have another 3 of our accessory organs in the abdomen. Okay, the abdominal cavity, which is pancreas, liver, and gallbladder. Okay, so these are the accessory organs of the digestive system. So the question is, which one is a digestive tract, the alimentary canal? Salivary gland? It is not. It is accessory organ. Pancreas is also accessory organ. Liver is also accessory organ. Small intestine is part of this alimentary canal or GI tract. So the answer will be the small intestine. Which of the following organ is an accessory digestive organs? Mouth, it is not, because mouth is GI tract. Pancreas, yes, so pancreas is one of the accessory organ. Stomach, small intestine are part of the GI tract or alimentary canal. The alimentary canal extends between what 2 points? Okay. Between stomach to colon, it's not. Mouth to the stomach, yeah, the mouth is correct. It's starting from the mouth, but stomach is not the end. Intestine to anus, anus is correct. This is the end, but intestine is not the starting point. Starting point is mouth, and the end point is anus. So mouth to anus. What is the correct sequence for the layer of alimentary canal from innermost to the outermost? Okay, so alimentary canals, like for example, stomach, intestine, they have 4 layers. Okay, from inner to outer. So the inside layer is called the mucosa. So mucosa mostly consists of epithelial tissue. Mucosa layer. That's the first layer. Okay. After that, there is layer called the submucosa. Okay, submucosa. Okay, and then after that, there will be layer of smooth muscle. Okay, this layer is called the muscularis, layer of muscle. And the last one is a connective tissue fiber, is called the serosa. Okay, so mucosa, submucosa, muscularis, and then serosa. This is from inside to outside. The layer of alimentary canal that absorb nutrient is the A, B, C, or D. Of course, it's going to be the inner layer that consists of the epithelial tissue. And this inside layer is called the mucosa. Okay, so this is the lumens of the alimentary canal. The mechanical process of breaking up food particles in the mouth is called ingestion, salivation, mastication, or peristalsis. Okay, which one is that? Okay, ingestion is not, because this is the process of putting food in our mouth. So this is eating. Okay, and then salivation is production of saliva. Okay, and then mastication is the process of grinding the food or breaking up the food particle in the mouth. So this is going to be the answer. It is done by our teeth. Which of the following is the largest salivary glands? Parotid, sublingual, submandibular. Which one? Okay, the largest one is the one that's located in the mouth, under our cheek, is called parotid. So parotid, this is the largest one. Sublingual, it is located under the tongue, it is smaller. Submandibular, this is located under our lower jaw. And this is also smaller than the parotid glands. The parotid glands is located blank and function to blank. Choose your answer. Okay, parotid gland, of course, it is not under the tongue, so that's incorrect. Okay, it is not under the mandible. This is actually located on the side of the mouth, okay, in our cheek, and the function is to produce saliva. Salivary gland secretes the enzymes blank that break down blank. A, B, C, or D. Okay. Saliva, okay, which is product of salivary glands, mostly consists of enzymes that digest carbohydrates. Okay, digest carbohydrate. Example of carbohydrate is starch, which is a lot in like potato, bread. Okay, it's a lot of starch. The scientific name of starch is amylum. Okay, so amylum. Then the enzyme that digests amylum will be called amylase. So ACE means enzyme that digests the amylum. So it should be amylase. This digests carbohydrates or amylum or starch. What is the main function of saliva for digestive system? A, B, C, or D? Okay, remember saliva is mainly water plus the main enzyme is amylase. Okay, so water and amylase. So water starts process of breaking down the food is called the hydrolysis. Hydro means water, lysis means break down. So break down molecule using water. So beginning hydrolysis and chemical digestion of protein. It is not, okay? Beginning of hydrolysis and chemical digestion of carbohydrate. It is correct. So this will be the answer, because amylase is the enzyme that digests carbohydrates. When you chew a piece of bread slowly for a long period of time, the flavor is becoming sweet due to the breakdown of starch into monosaccharides, like sugars. Which enzyme in the mouth is responsible for this process? Okay, so this is, again, we already explained this one. Start is amylum. It will be broken down by amylase. That's the name of the enzyme. The mechanical process of mixing and movement of food or kinds within the alimentary canal is called ingestion, salivation, mastication, or peristalsis. Ingestion is not, okay, because this is process of putting food in our mouth. Salivation is production of saliva. Mastication is chewing, so it is not part of this process, mixing and movement of food. And of course, this is the only answer left, which is peristalsis. So peristalsis is the process of mixing and movement of food within the alimentary canal. And this process is done by smooth muscle, okay, or the muscularis layer of the alimentary canal. Where the peristalsis occur in the alimentary canal? A, B, C, or D? Okay, remember, alimentary canal start from the mouth, but in the mouth there is no peristalsis. You have mastication. So mouth will not be the answer. Stomach to the colons, maybe. Okay. Esophagus to the anus, mouth to the anus. Mouth is not. Then the answer will be, after mouth we have pharynx and then esophagus. This actually starts from esophagus. So this process is starting from esophagus to anus. Because of the location of palatine tonsils, which process could be interfered by the swollen palatine tonsil? So when the tonsil is become bigger, okay, this is the mouth. Right? You have two tonsil over here, left and right. Okay. When it is bigger or swelling, what is going to be happening? What process will be interfered? Breathing only, swallowing only, or both breathing and swallowing, or neither of them? The answer will be both of breathing and swallowing will be interfered because of the swollen palatine tonsils. The flap-like structure that closes the breathing tube of accidentally getting food particles and water is called A, B, C, or D. Okay, so this is a flap-like structure like door or window that will close the respiratory tract from getting the food. Pharynx is not, because this is the airways, larynx, also airways, trachea, this is a windpipe. Okay? So the answer will be epiglottis. So epiglottis actually will close the larynx, okay, from getting food. if the food going to larynx, then we will get choked by the food. Epiglottis is attached to the A, B, C, or D. So we just mentioned if it is trachea, which is windpipe, above the trachea there is a structure is called larynx, and this larynx is also known as a voice box because it produces voice. And above the larynx there is a flap-like structure that will close the larynx when we swallow the food, and this structure is called epiglottis. Okay, so this epiglottis is located on the larynx. Heartburn is usually caused by the effects of gastric juice on the blank. A stomach, small intestine, heart, or esophagus. Okay, so the heartburn is actually due to the effect of gastric juice that going back up to our esophagus. So this actually affecting esophagus, and we feel that heartburn. Stomach ulcer is caused by excess bile, a high pH, bacterial infection, or viral infection. Okay, stomach ulcer is caused by bacterial infection. There is a special bacteria that causes this stomach ulcer. It's called the Helicobacter pylori. The four main parts of stomach from esophagus to small intestine are, choose your answer, A, B, C, or D. Okay, if it is esophagus, okay, it's gonna be sphincter. It's called the lower esophageal sphincter. It's connected to the stomach. Okay, and then at the end of the stomach, there is also another sphincter. It's called the pyloric sphincter. Okay, and this sphincter connects the stomach with small intestine. Okay, so between esophagus and small intestine, stomach has four parts. The closest one to the esophagus is called cardia. Okay, and then behind the cardia there is area is called fundus. Okay, and then the main part, the biggest part of the stomach is called the body. Okay, and the last part, the one that closest to the small intestine, is called the pylorus. Okay, so the sequence will be start from cardia, fundus, body, and pylorus. Look for cardia, fundus, body, and pylorus. The biggest part of the stomach is the body, pylorus, fundus, or cardia. Okay, we already mentioned that the biggest part is called the body. This is where the food processing mostly happenings in the body of the stomach. Which of the following cells on the wall of stomach produces chloric acids? Okay, there are many cells in the stomach, many different types of cells. Okay, the one that produces the hydrochloric acid is called the parietal cell. So parietal cell is the one that produces the hydrochloric acid. Mucus cell, it is the one that produces mucus, which is a sticky fluid. Chief cell, this is the one that produces enzyme, okay, like pepsin and lipase. So these are the two enzymes produced in the stomach, produced by the chief cell. G cell is actually the one that produces hormones, is called gastrin. Okay, so the one that produces the hydrochloric acids in the stomach is called the parietal cells. Which of the following cells on the wall of stomach produce hormone gastrin? Okay, so you should be able to answer this question because I just explained it. It's going to be the G cell. Okay, so G cell produce gastrin. Now, what is the function of gastrin? Gastrin actually will stimulate the parietal cell. Okay, stimulate parietal cell to produce hydrochloric acid. Which of the following hormones produced by stomach that sends signal to hypothalamus to stimulate appetite? Okay, feeling hungry. Is that secretin, gastrin? We already mentioned gastrin is the one that stimulates parietal cell to produce hydrochloric acid. So this is not the answer. Okay, secretin, leptin, or ghrelin. The one that increases appetite is called the ghrelin. So ghrelin is the name of hormones that increase our appetite. And it will be sent to the hypothalamus. Okay. Miss Piggy has a hormonal disorder in which her stomach constantly produces ghrelin. What will the effect of her disorder? She will never feel hungry. Of course not, because ghrelin is actually the one that makes us hungry, increase the appetite. She will constantly feel hungry. Yes, that will be the answer. How about the next one? Her metabolic rate will be increased. This is not. This is controlled by thyroid hormone. Okay, so the answer will be she will constantly feel hungry. Inhibition of which hormone may help in weight loss? Okay, so this is connected to the previous question. So to the weight loss, inhibition of ghrelin will help for the weight loss. Which of the following hormones produced by fat cell or adipocytes that send the signal to hypothalamus to suppress appetite? So feeling full, okay? Which hormone? Gastrin is not. We already mentioned what is gastrin. Ghrelin, of course, it is not, because this is actually opposite. This is the one that increase appetite. So the one that decrease or suppress appetite is hormone called leptin. So leptin will give us the feeling of full. Okay, leptin is the answer. Which of the following alimentary canal produce hormones called cystokinin or CCK? Esophagus, stomach, small intestine, or large intestine? So stomach is not. We already mentioned hormones produced by the stomach like gastrin, ghrelin. It is not CCK. Esophagus does not produce any hormones. Okay. Small intestine produce many hormones. One of them is called cystokinin or CCK. Large intestine usually do not produce hormone. So the small intestine is produce this hormone, CCK. Which of the following alimentary canal produce hormone GIP or GDIP, glucose insulinotropic polypeptide or glucose-dependent insulinotropic polypeptide. Okay, choose your answer. Again, esophagus will be not, stomach it is not, and the answer will be small intestine. Small intestine actually produce 3 hormones, CCK, GIP, and secretin. So small intestine is the answer. Which of the following alimentary canal produce hormone secretins? I just explained that one. So the one that produces the secretin hormone is also small intestine. So small intestine is the GI tract where the food digestion and reabsorption take place. So therefore, this part of the GI tract is actually produce many hormones and also many enzymes. Which accessory organ is attached to the duodenum and secrete fluid rich in digestive enzyme? Liver, gallbladder, pancreas, or salivary gland? Of course, salivary gland is not the answer because it is located in the mouth. Okay, maybe liver, gallbladder, pancreas. The one that produces a lot of enzymes is actually pancreas. So pancreas produce so many enzymes that will digest proteins, carbohydrates, and lipids. So pancreas is attached to the small intestine and it produces many digestive enzymes. What is the function of hormone secretins? Okay, remember this hormone is produced by the small intestine. What is the function? Okay, stimulate release of pancreatic juice. It could be regular excretion of digestive enzymes, maybe convert pepsinogen to pepsin. It is not, okay, because this one is actually in stomach. Remember, stomach produce pepsin. Convert trypsinogen to trypsin, maybe. Okay, the correct answer, secretin is actually used to stimulate the release of pancreatic juice. And this pancreatic juice mainly consists of sodium bicarbonate. Okay. So this sodium bicarbonate is also known as antacid. Okay. This is the natural antacid, the liquid or the substance that will neutralize the acid that coming from the stomach. Remember, food that enter into the small intestine is coming from the stomach, and stomach is very acidic. Okay? There should be substance that will neutralize that acid in the small intestine, and that substance is called the sodium bicarbonate, which is present in the pancreatic juice, and it will neutralize the acid. And this production of this pancreatic juice is stimulated by hormone secretin produced by the small intestine. Okay, so this makes sense that the food that enter into the small intestine carry acid, and then small intestine will produce secretin to stimulate the pancreatic juice. What is the function of hormone called cystokinin? CCK, A, B, C, or D? Okay, remember again, when the food coming from the stomach go to the small intestine. Okay, first this food will be carry acid on it, okay? And also of course the macromolecules, okay, like proteins, carbohydrates, lipids, right? So the small intestine will produce secretin, okay, and then secretins will go to pancreas, okay, and then pancreas will produce the sodium bicarbonate. It will be released into the small intestine to neutralize the acid from stomach, right? That's the first one. Remember, there is also micronutrient that enter into the small intestine from the stomach. It will make the small intestine to produce CCK, right, called cystokinin. And this CCK also will go to pancreas and stimulate the pancreas to produce the enzyme that will digest these micromolecules. Enzyme over here. Okay, so the answer will be regulate pancreatic secretion of digestive enzyme. Okay, just for information, the CCK will also go to liver. Okay, not only to pancreas, it will go to liver, and liver will produce the bile. Okay, it will be released into the small intestine. And bile has a function also for digesting the lipid. Okay, so CCK is not only good to pancreas, but also good to liver. Which of the following substances in the pancreatic juice neutralize the acid from the stomach? Already explained this one before. The substance is called sodium bicarbonate. That's the name of substance that has a function as natural antacid. Okay, it's neutralizes acid from the stomach. Which of the following substances in the pancreatic juice digest proteins and polypeptides? A, B, C, or D? Okay, so the name of substrate that has to be digested is proteins or polypeptide. Okay, we already mentioned that amylase is for carbohydrate, so this is not the answer. Okay, lipase, from the name, it is actually digest lipid. Okay, so this is for lipid. This is not for protein, so this is not the answer. Sodium bicarbonate, it is not for digestion. This is for antacid. So this is not the answer. The answer will be trypsin. Okay. Just for information, most of the enzyme that digest the protein, many of them will end with the IN. Okay. Like trypsin, pepsin, chymotrypsin. That's going to be the name of enzyme that digest protein. Okay, and with IN. Which of the following substances in the pancreatic juice digest lipids or fats? Okay, so trypsin, this is for protein. Amylase, this is for carbohydrates. Sodium bicarbonate, this is antacid, not for digestion. So lipids digested by lipase. So ACE over here mean enzyme, and this lipase is coming from lipids. So lipid digesting enzyme. Okay, so this is the answer should be lipase. Which of the following substances in the pancreatic juice digest carbohydrates? Okay, it should be easy. Trypsin is for protein, lipase for lipid. This is antacid. Then the answer will be amylase. This is the one that digests starch of or the amylum or carbohydrates. Which of the following substances in the is produced by liver to help lipid digestion in the intestine? Okay, which one is that? Remember, trypsin, it is produced by pancreas. Okay, amylase also produced by the pancreas. Lipase produced by pancreas. It is not produced by liver. Liver actually produce substance called bile. So bile is produced by liver. And this bile consists of bile salt, water, bile pigment, cholesterol, and electrolytes. Okay, there are several constituents of bile. The one that really help lipids digestion is called the bile salt. Okay, this is part or components of bile that digest lipids. What type of lipoprotein picks up cholesterol from peripheral tissue and return it to liver? A, B, C, or D? Okay, this is very important to understand. In our blood, we have a group of protein that carry lipids. And this group of protein is called lipoproteins. Okay, there are two main types of lipoprotein. The first one is called the LDL, and the second one is called the HDL. Okay, so LDL is stand for low density lipoprotein. Okay. HDL stand for high density lipoproteins. Okay, the LDL is actually carry cholesterol, okay, from liver to tissue cell. Okay, it will increase cholesterol in the blood. Okay, so if your LDL is higher, it means that you have the higher risk of having more cholesterol in the blood. Okay, so just remember that LDL we can also say as a looser, okay, looser cholesterol because it's increased cholesterol level in the blood. The HDL, this is the one that carry cholesterol from tissue into liver. Okay? In the liver, this cholesterol will be broken down. Okay? So when it is carried cholesterol from tissue to liver, it means actually decrease cholesterol level in your blood. Okay, so therefore this HDL you can also say as a hero, right? Hero cholesterol or happy cholesterol. Okay, so this is good cholesterol. Okay, so that's the difference between LDL and HDL. Now go back to the question. What type of lipoprotein picks up cholesterol from peripheral tissue and return it to the liver? Of course, this is going to be the HDL. Okay, the high density lipoproteins. So if you measure your HDL higher, this is mean that you are in a good healthy condition. So you need to have higher HDL and lower LDL. Which constituent of bile has a digestive functions? Bile pigment, bile salt, cholesterol, or electrolytes? Already mentioned that the bile salt is actually the one have the functions to digest the lipids. Bile salt functions like detergents in that they blank fat globules. A, digest, B, liquefy, C, solidify, C, emulsify. Okay, the way the bile salts digest the fat is by emulsifying it. Okay, just like when you wash your hand, When you have a lot of grease on your hand, you use soap, and this soap will remove or emulsify the grease from our hand. This is similar with the bile salt. It will emulsify the fat or lipids in our intestine. What is the function of the gallbladder? A, produce bile, stores bile, produce cholesterol, or produce urea. Gallbladder function is only for storage, okay, which is bladder is actually meant storage. Okay, you have urinary bladder, which is the storage of urine. Now you have gallbladder, which is the storage of gall or cholesterol. Okay? So this is store the bile. Okay? And the main components of bile is actually cholesterol. So stores bile. Why might gallstone form? So how the gallstone form? Because of the hepatitis? No, hepatitis will not stimulate or causing the gallstone. Because of liver necrosis, it is not. Liver cancer also not. And the main reason is because bile is too concentrated. Okay, less water in the bile, it's become stone or solid. Okay, that's what we call the gallstone. So because bile is too concentrated in the gallbladder. What is the major components of gallstones? Bile pigment, bile salt, cholesterol, or uric acid. Uric acid is not, because this is not part of the bile. Okay, so the one that's actually mostly concentrated in the gallstone is the cholesterol part. So cholesterol is become solid in the gallbladder. Which of the following substances is not functions of liver? A, B, C, or D? A, maintaining blood glucose concentration. This is yes, remember. Liver form the glycogens in the time when there are so many glucoses in the blood. Okay? If there are less glucoses in the blood, then glycogen will be converted into glucoses. So it is controlling blood glucose concentration. Secretion of insulin, this is not, okay? So this is actually the function of pancreas. Okay, so this is actually the answer, because the question is which one is not the function of liver. Secretion of insulin is not the functions of liver. Liver also produce urea, and of course liver form and produce bile. Jaundice, yellowish tints of tissue such as the sclera or the white of the eyes, is caused by abnormal functions of liver, which causing accumulation of blank in the blood circulation. So which one will be accumulated in the blood due to this liver dysfunction? Like someone that have hepatitis or liver cancer will have this kind of problem, jaundice, yellowish color of the skin and the eyes. It is the cholesterol? It is not. The bile salt? No. It is actually the bile pigment. Pigment means color. Okay? Example is the bilirubin. And this bilirubin color is kind of yellowish color. So this is the one that will be circulated in the blood and causing this jaundice. So the bile pigment. Which of the following is the possible transmission of hepatitis B? Skin contact, infected food, sexual activity, or the aerosols? So hepatitis B is caused by virus. Okay, virus Hep B, and this virus is actually reproduced inside the liver. Okay, reproduced in the liver, or HEPA means liver. So therefore, causing the inflammations of liver or hepatitis. Okay, so when they reproduce in liver, it will be carried by blood. Okay, and also carry in other fluids like the sperm. Therefore, the one that causing transmission of the hepatitis B may be blood transfusion and also sexual activity. Okay, so that's the possible transmission of hepatitis B. The greater omentum is composed of the blank membrane. So greater omentum is actually fat membrane or tissue that protect the GI tract organs in our abdominal cavity. So this is the one that protect the intestine, stomach, and other organs in the abdominal cavity. Okay, so it's composed of what? Pleural. Pleural is actually in the lung. So lung, this is covering for lung. Pericardial, remember we already mentioned, talk about the heart. So this is the one that covers the heart. Peritoneal, this is the one that covers organs in the abdominal cavity. So this is the answer. How about meninges? Meninges is the one for brain and spinal cord. So the one that protects brain and spinal cord is called the meninges. So the answer should be peritoneal membrane. One of the side effects of antihistamines, a medicine for allergy, is xerostomia due to inhibition of salivation. What is the xerostomia? Okay, so the question actually gives you the idea what is xerostomia. It says that the histamine actually inhibit salivation, inhibit production of saliva. So therefore, this antihistamine will causing dry mouth because no or lower salivary productions. So dry mouth is xerostomia. Which division of autonomic nervous system or ANS stimulate digestion process? A, B, C, or D? Okay, remember in Bio 137 we talk about ANS. This ANS actually consists of two divisions. The first one during normal time is called the parasympathetic division. Okay, this is during normal relaxed time. And then the second one is called the sympathetic division. Okay, this is during specific time, like for F4E. Okay, emergency, fight, flight, okay, angry. So this is the sympathetic divisions. Now, when we are in angry time or maybe fight or emergency, it will actually increase heart rate, right? So our heart rate, breathing rate increase, but our digestion will be decreased. Okay. On the other way, during the parasympathetic division or normal relaxed time, our digestions will be increased. Okay, this is the time when we produce a lot of ATP. And then our heart rate and breathing rate will be normal, which is decrease. Okay, so this is the 2ANS division. Now the question is, which division of ANS stimulates digestion? Of course, during the parasympathetic innervation. So the answer will be the parasympathetic division. Which of the following provides a complete source of complete proteins? A, B, C, or E. Like corn, it is not. This is mostly carbohydrate. Rice is carbohydrate. Wheat is carbohydrate. So proteins, the answer should be egg. So egg is actually has a lot of proteins in it. Albumin, globulin. So it's kind of complete proteins present in the eggs. Which of the following provides a good source of complex carbohydrates? A, B, C, or E. Eggs, egg is not. Egg is mostly for protein. Orange, maybe for vitamins. Peanut is also proteins. Leafy greens is going to be the one that have a lot of complex carbohydrates. Which of the following vitamin is necessary for formation of collagens? So collagen is a connective tissue that make our bones stronger and also make our arteries also stronger, because aorta actually have a lot of collagen fibers on it. So which vitamin is needed for formation of collagens? A, vitamin C, D, or K? The one that is needed for collagen formation is vitamin C. So vitamin C is needed to make collagens. Which of the following vitamins stimulate intestinal reabsorption of calcium and phosphorus? Okay, so calcium, phosphorus is needed to make our bone become harder. Okay, so this is important mineral for bone. And this calcium reabsorption, if we eat food that have a lot of calcium, the reabsorption of this calcium is stimulated by vitamin D. So D is the one that increases calcium reabsorption. This is the reason why in the milk, that has a lot of calcium in it, they put vitamin D. Okay, because this vitamin D is used for increase the reabsorption of calcium in the milk. Deficiency of vitamin blank causes rickets, osteomalacia, and bone decalcifications. Which one is that? Rickettsia, this is mean the bone is actually not strong enough. Children that have rickettsia, they will have the leg bone like an O. Okay, so like a bow. Okay, so this is called the bow leg. It's not, the bone is not that strong. Okay, osteomalacia, this is for adult. They have a very fragile bones because their bone cannot put calciums in it, or bone decalcification, which is the calcium will be out from the bone, causing the bone become fragile. So which vitamin? Deficiency of what vitamin causing this disorder or these problems? Of course, the vitamin D, because vitamin D is used for calcium reabsorption. Deficiency of vitamin blank causes night blindness. So this individual will have difficulty to see during darker condition, during low light conditions. So which one? is going to be vitamin A. So vitamin A is used for our eyes to see better in low light situation. Vitamin A. So it's usually a lot in like carrots. Okay, so carrots, it has a lot of vitamin A. As a child, Patrick Stars was poor and did not eat very well. Now he has developed a poor vision during low light condition. Which of the vitamins should he take to improve his vision? Okay, so we already mentioned before, the one that causing low light, difficult to see in the low light condition is deficiency of vitamin A. Therefore, he has to take the vitamin A to improve his vision. Excessive intake of vitamin blank causes nausea, headache, bruising, fatigue, and excessive bleeding. Which one is that? A, D, E, or K? The one that gives this symptom is if we take too much vitamin E. So vitamin E will cause the symptoms: nausea, headache, bruising, fatigue, and excessive bleeding. Deficiency of vitamin blank causes excessive bleeding and prolonged clotting time. Okay, which one is this? Excessive bleeding. So vitamin K is needed for clotting. So this is the one that stops bleeding. Therefore, if we do not have enough vitamin K, then we will have excessive bleeding. Remember, if we have too much vitamin A, it can also vitamin E, it can also causing the excessive bleeding. But if it is deficiency of vitamin K, it will also cause excessive bleeding. Antibiotics treatment is sometimes causing deficiency of vitamin. Antibiotics mostly interfere with vitamin K. So people that take antibiotic, very likely they have also excessive bleedings. Which of the following is not a fat-soluble vitamin? A, C, D, K. Okay, so fat-soluble vitamin is mean that vitamins that soluble in fat, not in water. It consists of A, D, and K. So the one is not will be C over here. So vitamin C is water-soluble vitamin. Okay, this is water-soluble vitamin. Which of the following is major mineral or macro minerals? Manganese, sodium, copper, or iodine? So from these minerals or substances, which one we need more or a lot? Sodium is actually one of our macronutrients. Okay, which of the following is a trace element or micro mineral? Okay, we need it in the small amount. So we already mentioned sodium, we need it a lot. We also need a lot of calcium. Okay, therefore it is not micro mineral. And we also have a lot of or need a lot of magnesium. The one that we need less or trace element is iron over here. So the answer will be iron. Which of the following mineral is necessary for formation of hemoglobins? Calcium, sodium, iron, and or magnesium. Okay, remember calcium, this is for bone. Okay, magnesium mostly for some enzymes. Sodium, this is for electricity. Okay, and the one that is part of the hemoglobin is actually iron. So we need iron to make hemoglobins. Deficiency of blank causing cardiac arrhythmias. Calcium, sodium, potassium, or magnesium. Cardiac arrhythmias mean irregular heartbeat, and the deficiency of potassium might cause this problem. How are the ingredients listed on the label of packaged food? A, B, C, or D? They are listed in alphabetical order. It is actually not. Okay, they are listed increasing order by weight. They are listed decreasing order by weight, or there is no regulations. The correct answer is actually they are listed in increasing order. Okay, so from smaller ingredients to bigger ingredients. Okay, the small amounts to the higher amount. So they are listed decreasing order by weight. Okay, I'm sorry, this decreasing order from higher to the lower concentrations. 1 kilocalorie equals the amount of heat requires to raise temperature of a kilogram of water by how many degrees of Celsius? Okay, so this is 1, this one should be 1, 2. Okay, 1 degree of Celsius, 1 degree Celsius. What does BMI measure? The amount of body fat, the amount of muscle components, the basal metabolic rate, weight in proportion to height. Yeah, the answer will be weight in proportions to height. Which of the following is an ideal and healthy BMI, body mass index? Between 13 to 18, between 19 to 24, between 24 to 29, or above 30. Okay, this one is considered as skinny. Okay, underweight. Between 13 to 18. 19 to 20 is normal, healthy weight. Okay, so this is the one that normal, healthy weight or healthy BMI. Okay, and then between 24 to 29, it is called overweight. Okay, and above 30 is called obese. Okay, so healthy ideal will be between 19 to 24 BMI. Which of the following BMI value is considered as obese? Okay, we already mentioned above 30 is considered as obese. Which of the following BMI value is considered as overweight? Okay, overweight is between 24 to 29. What's the condition that results from poor nutrition, lack of nutrients, or failure to use them? Malabsorption, it is not. Malnutrition, maybe. Okay, food allergy is not. Food intolerance is not the answer. So the answer will be malnutrition. Which one is the correct order of respiratory organs from up to bottom, from superior to inferior? Okay, which one? Okay, when we breathe, we start from nose. Okay, look for nose, nose, all start with nose. Okay, and then it ends to the alveoli, alveoli, which is located in the lungs. So after the nose, the air will go to small tube. It's called pharynx. And then from the pharynx, it will go to larynx. From the larynx, it go to trachea. So will be this one. Okay. And then from trachea, go to bronchi. Okay. And bronchi branches into many bronchioles and finally end to the alveoli. So this will be the answer. Nose, pharynx, larynx, trachea, bronchi, bronchioles, and alveoli. Which of the correct order of pharynx from superior to inferior? Okay, so we have nose, and then this is mouth. Okay, so nose, from the nose is good to pharynx. And then in the mouth is also good to pharynx. Okay, and then from these two pharynx is continue and then separate. Okay, so the air will go to trachea, the food will go to esophagus. Trachea for air. Okay, so there are three parts of pharynx actually. Okay, the first one is the one that behind the nose is called the nasopharynx. So nasopharynx over here. So it starts from nasopharynx. The second one will be the one that behind the mouth is called the oropharynx. So look for the oropharynx. And the last one is the one that close to the larynx, which is the one that will separate the food and air. Okay, so it's gonna be laryngopharynx over here. That's the sequence. So from this information, then you know that pharynx is actually receive both food and air. Okay, so that's the reason why pharynx is actually part of digestive system and also part of respiratory system. Which of the following is not function of mucus line nasal passages? So in our nose, okay, it's epithelial tissue, and this epithelial tissue has cell called the mucus cell, and this mucus cell produce mucus that will trap small particle. It's also moisture the air that enter into our nose because our lung is actually require warm air. Okay? Moisture and warm air. Okay, moist and warm air is needed by the lung. Okay, so these mucus lines will trap the small particle, moist the air, also warming the air. Okay. So the one that is not is cooling the exhale air. So this is the one is not function of this mucus line nasal passage. Where is the epiglottis located? Pharynx, larynx, trachea, or bronchus? We already mentioned that before. Larynx over here. Okay, continue as trachea. Okay, Above that, there is an area is called pharynx that has both food and the air. Okay, the food will go to the esophagus and the air will go to trachea. Okay, so to separate this food and air, then there should be flap structure, flap structure that cover the larynx. Okay, so when we swallow the food, this flap will close, and this flap is called epiglottis. It's located or attached to the larynx. Where are the vocal cords located? Okay. So then this is larynx, and then continue as a trachea. Okay. Another name for larynx is vocal or voice box. Okay, so voice box is another name for larynx. Okay. Because what? Because this box or this structure produces voice. So it has voice cord, okay, or the vocal cord. So this vocal cord is located in the larynx or the voice box. Which of the following symptom is associated with laryngitis? A, B, C, or D? Okay, remember larynx is voice box. Okay, so the vocal cords are located here. Now, if these larynx have inflammations, okay, it's called the laryngitis, then what's the symptom gonna be? Of course, look for this loss of voice or raspy, quiet voice. So that's the one that will be associated with the laryngitis. That's the identifications. If someone lost their voice, they might have the laryngitis. Which of the following statements describe the human trachea? Human trachea, it is actually consists of rings of cartilage. Okay, so a lot of rings. But for human, this ring is actually not closed. It is not like an O. It is like a C letter. So it's actually opens on the back. Okay, so the one that attached to the esophagus is actually open. Okay, it's only closed in the front. So it has C-shaped rings. Okay, it's composed of C-shaped cartilage ring. Both hand and foot, this is for pharynx, right? It's located posterior to esophagus. It's not. It should be in the anterior, in the front. Okay. The nasal cavity and trachea are lined with type of tissue. Nasal cavity and trachea. So this is our nose, then pharynx, larynx, and then trachea. Okay, so this trachea and nasal epithelial tissue is actually have cilia on it. This cilia or hair-like structure will remove debris, okay, from the nasal cavity and also from the trachea. it will be removed and bring into the pharynx or to the mouth. It might be swallowed. But if it is swallowed, it's okay, better than if it is going to the lungs. Okay, so this epithelial tissue has pseudostratified with cilia. Okay, pseudostratified epithelial tissue with cilia. Okay, hair-like structure. The right lung has blank lobes. The left lung has blank lobes. Okay, if it is trachea, bronchus, or bronchi, because two of them, and then become bronchioles, and then alveoli at the end. Okay, it is covered by membrane that make the lungs. Okay, now the right lung is actually have 3 lobes. Okay, so 3 lobes. The left lung is smaller because there is heart over here, right, on the left side of our thoracic cavity. So the left lung only have 2 lobes. Okay, 3 and 2. Okay, the heart should be here. Okay, going to the left. What types of tissue forms the walls of the alveoli? Okay, choose your answer. Remember, the alveoli, it is for gas exchange or gas diffusion. Okay, so in order to make a diffusion faster, then the alveolar wall should only have 1 layer of epithelial tissue, and this epithelial tissue have to be flat. Okay, flat or squamous. Okay, 1 layer or simple. Okay, so if you combine this, then this wall of alveoli is actually consists of simple squamous epithelial tissue. Okay, so if it is blood vessels, okay, so the gas can exchange from alveolar from the alveolar to the blood vessel, or from the blood vessel to the alveoli easily. Differentiate type 1 and type 2 alveolar cells of the lung. Okay, remember, if again this is alveolar, it has epithelial tissue, 1 layer of epithelial tissue. Okay, it's a simple squamous. Okay, so the one that making this, the cell that making this wall, 1 layer of epithelial tissue, is called type 1 cell. Okay, there is another cell that's located in the alveoli, is called a type 2 alveolar cell. And this type 2 alveolar cell produce chemical is called surfactants that keep this alveolar to be inflated. Okay, so the alveolar will always inflated because of this surfactant. So type 2 cell produce surfactant. There is another cell in the alveolar, is called type 3 cell. And this type 3 is used for cleanup clean up the alveolar lumen. Okay, so there are three types of cells in the alveolus. The first one is type 1. This is the one that making the wall for diffusion, gas diffusion. The second one is type 2 alveolar cell. This is the one that produces surfactant. And the last one is type 3 alveolar cell, and this is the one that clean up the alveolar lumen, maybe from debris or maybe from bacteria. So if we go back to this question, differentiate between type 1 and type 2. Type 1 cell from the alveolar wall, that's correct. The type 2 cell secrete surfactant. This should be the correct answer. So A is the correct answer already. What is the function of type 3 alveolar cell? Okay, we already mentioned that in the previous explanation. It is the one that clean up debris and foreign cell. This one is type 1 cell. This one type 2 alveolar cell, and this is the type 3 alveolar cell. What is external respiration? External respiration. Okay, for respirations consists of 3 stages. Okay, see 3 stages of respirations. The first one is called breathing. Okay, and breathing consists of inhalations or inspirations and exhalations or expirations. The second stage will be external respirations, which is gas exchange in the lungs. Okay, and the gas will be carried by the blood into the tissue. Then the third stage will be happening over here, is called the internal respiration, which is gas exchange in the tissue cell. Okay, so these are the 3 stages of respiration: breathing, external respiration, and internal respiration. Now the question is, what is external respiration? Should be this one over here, which is gas exchange in the lungs. Now, what is internal inspiration or respiration? We already mentioned that this is gas exchange in the tissue cells. Okay, gas exchange in the tissues. According to Boyle's law, as the volumes of air in the container increase, then what happens? Okay, let's say we have a container. Okay, it has air over here. Okay. If we push the container, so we push down, okay, and then what happens? It's become smaller volumes. Okay, so smaller. Okay, when the volume smaller, what happens? The pressure will increase. Smaller volume, increase pressure. Okay, now if we lose this, okay, and increase the volume, okay, so air volume increase, and what happened? The pressure will decrease. So always opposite between volume and pressure. So it's clear that the volume in the air is increased, then what happened with the pressure? The pressure will be decreased. Okay, it should be only two choices over here. So forget to remove this. So the pressure will be decreasing. Air will move from area with blank pressure to the area with blank pressure. So the air will always move from higher pressure to the lower pressure. Okay, just like if you press the balloons, it's going to be high pressure, then the air will go out to the low pressure. Okay, so this is the law for breathing or inspirations. So the air will go from higher pressure to the lower pressure. What causes air to move into the lungs during inspiration? Into the lungs. Okay, remember the law, which is from higher pressure to lower pressure. Okay? So this is going to be pressure gradients between atmosphere and the lung in the alveoli. During inspirations, the pressure in the lungs will be small or decrease or low, okay? And the pressure in the atmosphere will be higher, okay? So the air will go from atmosphere to the lungs, okay? So this is during inspiration. Which of the following occurs first, causing inspiration? Again, this is when the air go into our lung. What happened first? The lungs inflate. That's correct. Okay, the lung will be bigger. Okay, therefore the pressure will be lower. Okay, so inflate. That's correct. Okay, intra-alveolar pressure decrease. That's correct. So when the volume increase, then the pressure decrease. That's correct. The diaphragm moves downward and the external intercostal muscles contract. So this is actually what makes these lungs become bigger and the pressure decrease, because this diaphragm contracts, okay, is going down, okay, move down, and also the muscles in the ribs is called the external intracostal muscle also contract. Okay, the external intercostal muscle contracted. So two muscles actually contracted. It's make the lungs become bigger or higher volume. Okay, so this one should be the one that's happening first. Atmospheric pressure force air into the lung. So this one actually the first process, and the second one, this, okay, the lungs will be inflated, and because the lung inflate become bigger, the air pressure will be decreased, and the air will go from atmosphere, which is higher pressure, to the lungs, which is lower pressure. So the correct answer will be this one. This is the one that will happening first. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, and 4 process over here. Which of the following occur first, causing expiration? So this is just opposite. The thing that happening first will be the lungs will be pushed. Okay, so it's the volume will become smaller, just like you pressing the balloons. Okay, so it becomes smaller, the pressure increase, and the air will go out from the balloon. So the first process will be this one over here. The diaphragm will relax, external intercostal relax. It will causing the lungs to deflate, become smaller. So this the first one, this will be second one. And because the lungs become smaller, then the pressure will increase. Okay, when the pressure increase and the air will go out from the lungs into the atmosphere. So this is the fourth process. Okay, so the one that's happening first will be this one. The volume of air that is moved in or out during single quiet or relaxed respiratory cycle is called vital cavity, expiratory reserve volume, inspiratory reserve volume, or tidal volume. So during relaxed breathing, okay, the volume that in or out from the lung is called the tidal volume. It's about 500 milliliter air in and out. Vital capacity, this is the lungs capacity. Okay, it can take around 6 liter, okay, or 6,000 milliliter air. Okay, so the answer will be tidal volume, which is the volume of air, about 500 milliliter, that will be in and out during quiet, relaxed breathing. Where are the respiratory center located? Okay, so this is actually part of our brains that controls our respiration. Okay, so it's called the respiratory center. That one is actually located in the area called the brain stem. Okay, therefore this is automatic control. Okay, because this is not controlled by the cortex. So it's not controlled by the cortex. It is controlled in the brainstem. It is not by the lungs. It is not hypothalamus. This is hypothalamus is for hormone. Remember, hypothalamus is connection between brains and endocrine system. The one that control respiratory center is in the pons and medulla oblongata, which is part of the brain stem. Okay, remember brain stem consists of midbrain, pons, and medulla oblongata. Where are the peripheral chemoreceptors located? A, B, C, or D? Okay, so the chemoreceptor, the one that sense whether we have enough oxygen or not, is actually located in the arc of the aorta, and also the one that go to our brain is called the carotid artery. Okay, so the arc of aorta and the carotid artery, it has chemoreceptors, which is a receptor that sends for oxygen's concentration or levels. Why we are unable to hold our breath for a long time? So if we try to hold our breath, then we will definitely breathe things, okay? Because we cannot hold that. Why? Remember, this is an automatic control by the pons and medulla oblongata. And when we stop breathing, then oxygen level will be dropped. Okay, it is sensed, okay, sensed by the chemoreceptor in the aortic arc of the aorta and carotid artery. And then this chemoreceptor will send information to the pons and medulla oblongata. Okay, and then the pons and medulla oblongata will send the information to our lungs, okay, or to our respiratory tract to breathe in order to increase this oxygen level. So we cannot really hold our breath because automatically we will be inhaling the air. So decrease oxygen concentration and increase carbon dioxide concentration in our body trigger inspiration, okay, inhalation. Okay, we will inhale the air automatically. The partial pressure of oxygen of systemic arterial blood is typically blank, and the partial oxygen of systemic venous blood will be typically of blank. Okay, just remember our heart pump the blood, go to the artery, aorta artery, and then we have capillary, okay, in the tissue. And then after that is going back as a vein. Okay, this is artery. Okay, so remember, blood that going to artery is coming from the left ventricle that has a lot of oxygen. So this oxygen level over here is gonna be very high. So the PO will be high. Okay, partial pressure of oxygen in the arterial side will be higher. And then after being used in this capillary, then the oxygen level will be very low. So the PO2 will also be low. Right? Remember, the one that goes to the right side of the heart over here will be poor blood, the blood that have less oxygen. Okay, so look for the higher pressure on the arterial side and the lower pressure on the venous side. Okay, so it's going to be this and this. In the arterial side will be 95 millimeter mercury. On the venous side, usually very low, around 40 millimeter mercury. So the pressure is lower in the veins compared to in the artery. But if we talk about carbon dioxide, then carbon dioxide in the vein will be higher compared to the carbon dioxide in the artery. How is oxygen transported in the blood? How? Remember, oxygen is carried by hemoglobin. So mostly will be in hemoglobins at 98%. 98% will be in the hemoglobins. Only 2% dissolve in the blood plasma. How is carbon dioxide transported in the blood? Now this is carbon dioxide. Now after coming from the capillary, then there will be more carbon dioxide in the blood. So where they will be located mostly. So this carbon dioxide, 70% will be transported as the carbonate ions, okay? And then 23% will be bound in the hemoglobin. Only 7% dissolve in plasma. So 70% in the form of acid, okay? And the rest will be in the plasma and in the hemoglobin. So this molecule over here is actually combination between carbon dioxide and water. Remember, in the plasma there is water. It will create this molecule. okay, bicarbonate molecules, and then 70% will be in this form. What is typically cause of adult sleep apnea? It's difficult to breathe during sleep, and sometimes is snoring. What is the possible cause? Usually because of these obstructions of the upper airways. Yeah, so this one is incorrect, so there's no choices for this one. So it should be obstructions of upper airways. Why are smokers more susceptible to respiratory infections? What is the main reason for this? Usually smoke causes the patient or the smoker to lose the cilia on their respiratory tract. So when they lose the cilia, then more bacteria will be entering into their lungs or their respiratory tract organ. So this is the reasons. Exposure of secondhand smoke can cause or increase the risk of developing A, B, C, or D. This is actually the one that increase when someone is a second-hand smoker. It means that he is not smoker, but his family may be smoker, so he gets the infections from as a second-hand smoke, okay, which is the heart and the lung disease will be increased. Chronic obstructive pulmonary disease or COPD includes which respiratory disorder? So COPD, it is related to bronchitis and emphysema. It is not pneumonia, okay? It's not pneumonia, it is not cancer. So this is the answer, chronic bronchitis and emphysema. Which of the following occurs with emphysema? What happens if someone has emphysema? What are the signs and symptoms? Okay, this is actually what happens. The alveolar wall degenerate, decreasing the surface area for gas exchange. So he actually will get less oxygen that is absorbed by or diffused into the blood circulation. Which is the usual cause of bronchial asthma? Bronchial asthma mostly caused by or triggered by an allergy. During an asthma attack, patients find it most difficult to inhale or exhale. It's actually most difficult to exhale. What is atelectasis? A, B, C, or D? So atelectasis is a terminology for collapsed lungs or part of the lung. So that should be the answer. Changes in the respiratory system that accompanies aging include thinning mucus, overactive cilia, slow swallowing reflex, or thickening alveolar walls. The one that related to aging is slow swallowing reflex. I think that's all. So good luck with your third exam. Goodbye now.